All right, today we're going to be making a porcelain wine goblet themed for a medieval style feast. This is going to be perfect for wine or ale or cider or mead. We're going to throw it in one piece. Now what that means is the entire goblet is going to be thrown out of one piece of clay. Now for most potters, they will attempt to make goblets out of two pieces, because goblets thrown in one piece are really challenging due to you have to support a pretty top-heavy cup on top of a very narrow stem while the clay is pretty flimsy and the wheel is spinning. So to begin, we're going to make sure our clay is nicely centered, because this is going to form the best sort of foundation to be able to build a pot that is tall and top-heavy with a very narrow foundation. Now to do this, we're going to start with a very interestingly shaped column of clay that we're going to begin making our cup out of the top. Now we start with the cup a little farther down, a little shorter than we're going to eventually end up with it, because we don't want to try to form most of the volume on this cup where we have to use a lot of sideways pressure while the stem is very narrow and tall. We want to do it while it's short and stout. We also have to be careful of the amount of water that we use, because the softer the clay is, the more difficult it will be to get the height that we need out of the stem of this goblet. But we do want to have enough water where we can still have our fingers pretty lubricated, so we're not slipping and or sticking everywhere. All right, so we want our cup to hold a fair amount of liquid. We're thinking these are going to be used for alcohol that's going to be a little on the heavier side than just like a little beer. Probably some wine, probably above 10% ABV. So we're not shooting for like a 22-ounce huge old stein, but also where it's not like for cordial or like a little nightcap. We want a solid 8 to 10 ounces, because that's going to leave some room on top and let you have a nice beverage, feeling very regal while you drink it. Now the tricky part about doing that is that clay shrinks. So even though we want a finished 8 to 10 ounces, we have to throw a form that is considerably bigger. Actually, in this material's instance, about 13% bigger. Now, so this is probably about the largest amount of space that we're going to get out of our cup. We're going to go ahead and do some basic shaping on the bowl of this goblet. I'm going to leave a nice defined rim right there that would be really comfortable to put your lip up against. Now, here comes the challenging part, where we go to extend the stem of this goblet as high up as we can get it. We're going to do that by applying some pressure down here at the base, and while we do it, we're going to have to support the bowl of this cup so that it doesn't get top heavy and off balance, which it will want to do. You'll see in a minute. The taller we get this and the narrower the stem gets, the more challenging it's going to be to make sure that it's balanced. So what I'm doing is I'm coming down here at the very base of the clay, I'm just pinching up between 2 or 3 fingers, just kind of pressuring the clay upwards. Making it narrower as we go. Now there is a considerable portion of clay down here at the base still. If we were to pick this up right now, it would feel very off-centered, very bottom-heavy, I should say, not off-centered. And we want to be able to create a goblet that is balanced, so when it's full of drink, you're not feeling like you're doing dumbbell curls while you have your feast drink. We're not trying to make anybody do a workout. We want a very nice, lightweight, well distributed stem of clay. We have had a bit of practice. The past 2 mug goblets that we threw today were not nearly as easy. So I'm particularly happy that we're maintaining balance and nice, good momentum, although I probably won't try to stretch it any taller than this right here. All right, now that we have our height, we're going to be using one of these ribs. We'll take off the excess clay and really shape the stem in the way that we want it to. Now I'm supporting the cup part with my hand as we do this, because as we're taking clay off, I am applying pressure to the stem. It's going to want to make things a little off balance. We're going to have to make sure that we're consistently keeping the bowl supported so that it doesn't get off center while we remove some of this excess clay down here and shape the stem just how we want it. Now, if we're thinking for a medieval feast, fit for like nobility, somebody who would be able to afford a nicely thrown goblet, we're probably going to want something with at least a modicum of decoration. This isn't just a plain carpenter's cup, so to speak. This is going to be a fairly nice form, and so we're going to add definition to the stem. We're going to remove and shape it in a variety of ways. We're going to carve out some clay right here to create these little ridges. This is just for visual interest, for the glaze to what's called break over, so that we're getting some texture through the glaze along the clay, and also some stability while the person who's going to end up using this is holding it. Just something to kind of grip onto. So I've got one right here, one little ridge right here. I'm going to try to do one more near the top. So I'm just bending this rib. You can see I'm just kind of like bending it, and I'm going to scoop it into the side of the stem, just kind of taking away a bit of the clay. You can see I've got some clay right here. It's left a little ridge. I'm not going to get too crazy there, particularly because getting a little narrow, top's getting a little wobbly. It's not so bad. I am going to use this rib and create a defined end to the stem and beginning to the cup. So I'm going to press the corner of this rib in here, just create a little gallery, a little line, and form the bowl of this cup around it just a little bit more. It's very challenging right now because it wants to be very off-center. I have to be careful about the amount of pressure we're using. And I'm going to try to wrap this up. Beautiful. This is lovely. Now the good news is that once the clay dries up a bit, we'll be able to trim this down and shape it up a little bit more. We'll put it back on the wheel after it's become what's called leather hard. And we'll remove with some additional shaping tools, some additional clay, so that we are really refining the stem shape and taking away any excess weight, while adding any other decoration or etching that we may want to include. So what I've done there is I've just cut away the edge that's going to stop the bottom of this goblet from being very sharp. It's going to give it like a more dull, less pointed foot. That'll prevent cracking and chipping. And I'm just going to kind of inspect it, see how it's looking. I will probably come back to clean some of these up, maybe trim up and make this a little nicer. I think one thing I would love to attempt to do is make the cup of this goblet just have a little bit more of a belly. Right now it comes like doop. I would love for a nice, graceful belly of this form. So, ooh, it's gonna be tricky. I'm gonna use very light pressure base of this form, try to round it out against this rib. So that it becomes much more bowlish at the bottom. I mean, I'm trying to use, I don't know what you measure pressure in, but I mean tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. Just enough. Lovely. It's minute, but I can tell. It's much more satisfying. Okay, I will get out some excess water and we will set this aside to dry. We'll come back and tomorrow and trim out the stem, refine the shape, add some etchings, ready to go. All right, so thanks so much for creating this goblet with me today in one piece. I'm looking forward to seeing how the glaze comes out on this clay body and really using this at our feast. So stay tuned and we'll see you again next time.